To the pleasure of your company.
Oh, it's great to be here, Julie.
I'm just sorry that there aren't, kids your age on the beach. You'd have more fun.
Oh, no, I get that all year long. I just want to be here with you and Elliot.
That's sweet. What makes us so nifty?
Oh, well, you love each other.
Oh, boy, that we do.
Honest, Julie, if you and Elliot didn't exist in this world, I think I'd just forget about marriage. I really would.
Oh, Maria.
No, I mean, guys are great, and I love them. But, I just hate to pick one and end up like my mom and dad. Ugh, there's got to be a better way to go.
Gee, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, now, I didn't mean to get off on that. Oh, Julie, I can hardly wait till you finish it. It really is good. I love it.
Thank you. I'm really anxious about it, He's got such a beautiful little face. I want to get it just right. And
Yeah.
oh, boy, it's hard. Woo. Oh, my goodness. If I don't get going, we're never going to have a party tonight.
Oh, what can I do?
Nothing. You got here 10 minutes ago. You haven't even unpacked.
I just hope you can stand me for the full 2 weeks that I'm here.
Well, I tell you what. If we don't like you, we won't bother to hide it. Careful, it's hot. Now, seriously, you're here because we love you. End of speech, okay?
Ah. Julie.
Yeah?
Where do you think love comes from? I mean, the kind of love that you and Elliot have.
It comes from me. I'm totally and wholly responsible.
Oh.
My nutty wife had nothing to do with it at all.
Thank you.
Oh, now, old cuz.
Oh, just fine. How now you?
Not bad.
He's not bad for an aging beach bum.
Pay no attention to that rotten kid in the kitchen.
Okay.
Hey, graduate, they finally turned you out, huh?
Oh, yes, a sheepskin in the old bit, Oh,
that's good.
Hey, where's Blake?
Oh, he's taking his own sweet time, as usual.
Oh, look at him.
Oh, Elliot, where have you had him?
He's our local expert on mud puddles.
Oh, I'll say.
Hey, Mom, don't you think it's about time for a bath?
I certainly do.
May I?
Thank you very much.
Excuse us, folks.
That's one sweet little cousin. Oh, darling, would you mind taking your shoes off outside?
Yes.
Thank you. I just finished vacuuming.
All right. Yes, she's very special. She always has been.
Well, you better be prepared for some long discussions. She's very confused at the moment.
So is our 4-year-old son.
Oh, really? What about?
Well, it all started with this. He was down talking to Mr. Garrett. And they went through the usual bit of holding the shell up to the ear, you know. Blake was fascinated with the sound. Well, the next step is obvious, right?
Oh, yes. Let's see. Where does the sound come from? What makes the sound? Why?
Yes. Well, Mr. Garrett said that it was the voice of God.
Oh, that's marvelous. I hope you straightened him out.
Oh, another thing. The shell, my dear, is God's radio. End of quote.
What a stupid thing to tell a child, honestly.
Now, baby, the story is harmless enough in itself. It's just that it opened up the whole can of peas. What does God look like, Daddy? How tall is he? Are his muscles bigger than yours? Why does his voice sound like the wind? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, well, how did you handle it?
Not the way we planned.
Oh, why not?
Well, I didn't tell him there was a God.
Oh, but you didn't tell him there wasn't.
I said I would talk to him tomorrow about it.
And what do you plan to say tomorrow?
I don't know. I want to think about it.
Damn it, Elliot. Listen, I thought we had this out at Christmas time, and we agreed we weren't going to play games with our son.
Baby, I like it fine that he doesn't believe in Santa Claus, but God is something
else. No. A fairy tale by any other name is
Talk
still
to
a fairy
me, baby.
tale.
Don't yell at me.
Look, I care about what Blake thinks and how he looks at the world. I want his little mind wide open. I don't want it filled with
A lot of garbage that we'll have to pull out later on. Neither do I. It's just that I'm not so sure these days about what is garbage and what isn't.
Well, I know what I think and what we agreed on, and I stick to it.
I'll talk to you later, okay?
No, I want to talk about it now.
Not now, baby. Now is not the time.
it. Hello, Pat. How are you? Listen, I just got a wild idea. A gimmick for tonight's party.
Insight. Stories of spiritual conflict in the 20th century. Insight.
It's time to play Julie's God game. Let's hear it for Julie. Booze. Come on. The question, everybody settled? The question is a very simple one. Does he go or does he stay? Is God dead or isn't he? Huh? Julie, call everybody, tell them the rules, right? Call everybody, okay. This is our scale of justice. Over here are the props. I put everybody's props in the usual prop. Forget it. And on this side is for God, okay? Uh-huh. And I like the artwork. And this side is against God. My wife did that. That's good. I will now turn the proceedings over to my lovely wife. Have I forgotten anything?
Yes, the only thing that you forgot was to mention that it was for your benefit.
It's for my benefit.
Yes, yes. Well, wait a minute. All right, who's going to volunteer first? No? All right. Antrim, how about you?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right, come on. Take on, Brenda.
It's my pleasure. Now, for the benefit of the student observer in the gallery, and that's you, Maria, let me identify myself by occupation. I'm a professor of history, my dear.
That's right, honey. He is the gas of the local campus, if you know what I mean.
Now, on the basis of more than 20 years of generalized study in the history of civilization, and more particularly on my research and doctoral work in the field of mass movements, I feel qualified to state that religion is purely and simply pie in the sky. To be religious, to believe in God, is to escape from the anxieties of the human situation. To hide in a world of illusion. In short, a cop-out.
Oh, but such a delicious-looking cop-out.
What, an empty pie?
Man should allow himself to feel the anxieties of the human situation. To get angry, to rebel against the injustices of the socio-political order. And only when God and religion are erased will man allow himself to get angry enough to overturn the establishment and set up a new human social order. Religion keeps the people sedated. Religion is the narcotic of the masses.
Don't knock it if you haven't tried it. I need another drink.
Didn't say anything.
Religion has always been on the side of the power structure, a device used by the exploiting classes to keep the workers in their place.
Oh, history is changing. We used to blame that on big business.
And finally, it is clearly recorded that religious leaders have never truly been interested in the people, only in wealth, power, and privilege. The religion business is the real estate business.
Oh, that's brilliant. Brilliant. No, thank you for that presentation of very significant evidence.
Significant? Significant? Well, it's junk. It's all junk, and it's old junk.
Are you volunteering now, Pat?
Well, it is a part, and you have trapped me an audience, so how can I resist? Incidentally, Marie, in case you haven't guessed, I'm an actress. Of course, I'm just being modest. Actually, I am the sex queen of the films. Widescreen. Catch the svelte lines? Now, to get back to the historical gas that was wafted out over this room. Antrim, about your so-called evidence, you were putting down religion, not God.
That's right,
Right. All right, now, for the big guy, love. A little thing he invented while we were still fussing around with the wheel. In fact, I remember him saying, love thy neighbor. Now, that's a goodie. I buy that. Bully for God. Hip, hip. Okay, Julie, I have just crumped your side to the best you can.
Is that all you're going to say?
That's enough. That's enough. All right, Danny, come on, your turn.
Okay.
Let's have some points for
Oh,
your
let's
side.
hear it for our local head shrinker with the funny shirt.
Thank you. For the benefit of our charming guest, I am a practicing psychologist.
If he keeps on practicing long enough, he may figure out what it is he's doing.
Most of my patients have a psychological structure that equips them very nicely for the 19th century, but leaves them hopelessly unsuited to deal with today. They are victims of obsolescence, and it's my job to help them cope. By the way, Pat, my hours are 10 to 5.
Pity. I'm never obsolescent until after dark.
Well, now, from the psychological point of view, God is a projection of man's yearning for an ideal father, a projection of the superego. Now, in earlier times, this concept of God was a useful one. It was a nice invention for a people who needed a father. But now, quite obviously, this need is no longer with us. It's past.
Oh, really? Don't you watch the 6 o'clock news?
Man will never be free until he makes his own laws, establishes his own values, and follows his own feelings. To put it another way, God weighs man down. God has got to go. God, the king, the father figure. Now, this is a concept that is no longer viable. And so, too, God, the lawgiver. And finally, most important of all, God, the punisher of men.
Oh, well, that was just excellent, Danny. You psychologists are all such good actors.
Why, of course, and the show never closes.
Oh, it's even better than that. Your dialogue is such a snap to learn. Just one line over and over again. Yes, dear. And after that, then how did you feel?
And he gets $40 an
Danny,
hour.
I want to ask you something honestly.
Yes, my dear, what?
Does therapy really work? I mean, does it help people solve their problems? Does it give them answers?
Oh, for God's sake,
Oh, that's a
Ruth.
fair question. That's fair. That's fair.
Of course, it works sometimes. Now, it depends upon the patient. It depends upon the therapist. Both have to be sincerely and fully committed.
Committed where?
Now, Pat, for instance, would be a hopeless patient.
Oh, how can you say that? I can Freud and Frug with the best of them. I can even Jung a little. Younger than springtime.
Hey, Danny.
God, I think you better come and see me tomorrow.
Danny, I'd like to ask you something. No, Danny, I'd like to ask Danny something. Listen,
Go ahead.
recently I've been working on this book, and I've had some peculiar experiences. Now, when you've been dealing with a patient, have you ever come across a dimension that goes beyond the human?
Yes, I know what you're getting at. It's the experience of the transcendent.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
I've read about it, but I must say I've never experienced it.
When you were talking about yearning before, have you ever yearned for something like that?
That's another one for the big
What
guy.
did nothing was said.
Wait a minute. Let's get back to the formal evidence, please, huh?
This is informal.
Later.
All right, who's next? Lila, how about you?
Why not?
All right, now make some points, huh?
I'll try. I think what I have to do is tell you the story of my life.
Oh, save it, honey. Sell it to a magazine.
True confession.
As most of you in here know, I am, as they say, I've been around. For the benefit of the newcomer, I suppose I qualify as the local love child.
Yeah, here come the judge. Here come the judge.
Oh, Pat,
Hold
for
on,
heaven's sake.
Maria.
Listen, if she listens to this, she may just learn something.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very religious family, so-called. A religion was a way of keeping a child on her knees in a dark room, instead of letting her stretch out in a soft mattress and dream of being a woman with a man in her arms. My parents weren't really sadistic. They were just twisted up. They thought I should be twisted up, too. They wanted me to be perfect. I was their precious little girl, their little princess. And I was God's little princess, too. I had to be pure for him. It's pretty funny because God has a problem. God has a thing about bodies. He's anti-sex, and he's anti-pleasure.
Where'd you find him, honey?
Everywhere.
Oh, somebody gave you a bum steer. You've got God mixed up with your local manufacturer of chastity belts.
All the time that I was growing up, God was watching me, and saying no. Boys were bad. My body was wrong. Kissing, that brought germs. And as for going to bed with a man, oh, well, that was only okay for making babies. My dear parents. My dear parents. You know, I never saw them kiss once, not once in my life. I didn't even see them hold hands. And these same loving parents shoved God at me every chance they got. I remember at my high school graduation party, I danced with a boy and he held me up fairly close. My parents took me right home, made me stand in the shower and scrub myself with laundry soap so that I could be clean again for God.
Oh, wild. God the detergent.
I hated boys. Can you imagine that? I hated myself, I guess. I never dated, never went anywhere. Until finally, when I was 24, I couldn't stand the pressure any longer. The dam burst.
Madame?
I made up for what I'd missed, and I made up for it in record time. I grabbed the first man I saw, and I said yes. Now. Right now. And then I didn't stop. I kept right on going. I wasn't selective. I wanted every man I saw, so the way I was moving, I saw plenty.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. I am eaten up with jealousy.
Well, trouble is, for every swinging night, there's always the day that follows and the feelings that come with it. Depression and a guilt. So God's the bed of nails that I wake up to. He's the constant irritation that stings my flesh. You know what he is? The monster of my childhood. He's my hang-up. He's a nightmare I can't forget because he's the one who raped me.
Wow, honey, where is love gone? Isn't anybody else here on my team? Hey, Elliot, no?
Oh, baby, I'm still just listening.
Well, I'll say a few words for the defense.
Good for you, Rod. All right, let's hear it.
Maria, I'm, well, to put it in layman's language, I'm what they call a computer expert.
Yeah, I lay a little of that technology on him. Eat him up.
Now, to begin with, there is no basic conflict between science and religion. Even the more various, long disputed passages in the Bible are no longer seen as stumbling blocks due to advances in linguistics. As a matter of fact, today we see the Bible as as literature plus rather than science minus. But to get on with my concept of God, I see him as the designer of the universe, the master programmer, the ultimate computer.
You make him sound so cold and so far away.
Well, if you were more science-oriented, you'd have a deeper understanding of the intricacies that make up our world. Now, you take...
Everything's a machine to you.
Oh, are you on
Even
now?
your God. The only reason that you respect him is because he's smarter than you are. Can solve bigger problems. He doesn't even need your little cardboard punch cards.
Ruth, you're a bit drunk.
But your God doesn't ache. And he doesn't cry. And he doesn't like children.
Ruth, come on, let's get
He
some
doesn't
air.
feel. And he doesn't love.
Come on, let's get some air, Ruth.
He's just like you.
Meet the wife.
We'll be right back.
Rod, I move we strike your testimony from the record.
Why is that?
Well, because the God I know is a God of personal relationships. He makes contact. He touches us. He feels with us, he cries with us, forgives us when we goof. He loves us, he cares. I dig his architecture plenty, but much, much more. I dig his concern for me. And he's always available. His hours are all day and all night. He's always where I can find him. Inside me. Beyond me. Right next to me. He's everywhere. He's as close as the closest human being. And he doesn't tell me what to do. Not really. Except to love. He wants me free. He's a whole lot of things that maybe we just don't know about. But anyway, I dig him because I'd be nowhere without him. I dig him for the breath I breathe and the skin I wear. All of it. And the heart inside me and whatever warmth and openness I have to give to some other fractured human being. Well, I think that's worth a whole bunch.
Okay, Pat, you've had your say. I'd like to tell you all about a girl I knew in my hometown. Elliot, this is for your benefit.
I'm just getting another drink, Ollie.
Well, it's in the South, you know. Anyway, her name was Joan, and she was black. Or in our quaint vernacular, a nigger girl. Anyway, I knew Joan as she was growing up because her mother worked for us. Well, the year I got out of college, there was a civil rights demonstration going on in our town, and Joan was there. She wasn't actively participating in it. She was just watching. Anyway, this group... Oh, I forgot to mention that Joan was 6 months pregnant at the time. Anyway, this group of men came along. They were friends of my father, you see, and they hooked up a fire hose to a hydrant. They were the self-appointed protectors of law and order. Oh, boy. Anyway, they spotted Joan, and they turned the full force of that water on her, and so it hit her square in the belly. Well, naturally, it knocked her down, but that didn't stop them for 1 minute. They just kept that hose on her, so it rolled her over and over and over, and it finally smashed her against a curb. There's more to the story, but why bother? Joan lost her baby. A little later on, she died. And the irony of it is that the Sunday that she died, the very same men who wielded that hose were having a wonderful time at a church picnic. This is my evidence. So sing me no songs of a loving and merciful God, because, baby, he doesn't exist. That's it.
Okay, that's it. Who won?
Elliot, may I say something?
Please, Don, come on. It's your turn.
Well, I'm one of those new breed of kids who was raised in a no-rules house. My parents are intellectuals, you might say. They never taught me what to believe or how to behave. They don't believe in God. In fact, they don't believe in much of anything at all. And neither did I, up to this point. And lately I've been real confused. I don't know. There's so many things I can't explain. Like what happens between two people who really love each other. And what makes me really who I am. What are these funny, crazy vibrations way inside me? And what am I supposed to be doing in this crazy, mixed-up world? And I guess most of all, how did I happen to be here tonight? Well, you all are so full of words and ideas, and you're so positive. But you're really so cold and angry underneath. Even you, Julie. You have your own fire hose, and you're so steamed up at the hypocrites you want to bowl God over. Oh, Julie, that's a strange kind of love. I only hope it never turns on Elliot or Blake or me. Do you know what I think of you all? Well, I think you're afraid. Afraid to take a chance or maybe make a reach. You're so uptight. And you can't even laugh at yourselves. Except for Pat, I see no humor in any of you, as silly as you are. Maybe I shouldn't be saying any of this. But you don't have any soul. Yes. Well, I don't care what you say or how your silly basket tips. You've only proved one thing to me. To me, every time you condemn God or put him down, you prove to me that you'd better find him. Because somehow you need him. Excuse me.
Insight is a production of the Paulist Fathers, a group of Catholic priests who serve their God by serving those outside their church.